Alright, inner tubes, we have the Ducati Scrambler Icon. This is the cheapest of the Scrambler line. Is there a gear indicator on this thing? I see neutral, but I don't see a gear indicator. This is a nice looking classic little bike. First gear is nice and tall, and it's got kind of semi off-road tires on this thing. Not much extra on this bike. It's just a bike. It's got the ABS, it's got the traction control, but other than that, it's pretty bare bones. It's got, you know, it's a bike. No rider modes, nothing too fancy. The suspension is adjustable in the back. Doesn't look like it's adjustable in the front. It's got decent acceleration, and no, the turn signals are not canceling because it was still on. It's a beauty bike. Comes in several colors. This is the yellow. Also comes in, I've seen it in red. I'm not sure if this year they're offering it in red. It's 2019. I've seen it in orange. That looks nice. The yellow might be the most high vis. It chugs along nicely at low revs. Let's try it at high revs. Decent. Mirrors, not the best for me. Kind of having trouble adjusting them. The shape is kind of weird. Not crazy about the stock mirrors. It does have good jump once you get the revs up. You got to be around 6,000 RPM for it to really start coming in and getting sporty. But it's it definitely has some zip to it. It's very light. 417 pounds full of gas. It feels buttoned down. The handling is tight, definitely. It's flickable. It wants to be thrown into corners. It's easy to push steer the thing, and we'll see how the thing handles right now. You're like a sail in the breeze on this baby. Keeps the line really well though. Oops, blinker. Got a little squirrely there in that corner, I have to say. Got a little squirrely. I think it's the off-road, partially off-road tires, and my blinker's still on. Now the off-road tires are a little bit, they start to weave a little bit when the lean angle is getting up there. But nothing too bad, nothing too scary. It wasn't hairy or anything, it wasn't sketchy. It wants to wheelie. Oh, it's hard not doing that. Yeah, it's got plenty of power, 70 horsepower or so. Plenty of poke. The only thing is, when you give it the poke, you are exposed in the wind. So maybe a nice little fly screen or a short wind screen just to keep the air off your chest would be a good thing here. It looks pretty from the cockpit. Little bit of heat coming up on my right side here. Thighs getting roasted. I think they've also smoothed out the throttle, which you can really tell. Slow speed throttle response is very smooth. It's not too jerky, which is good considering it doesn't have rider mode. So we're basically, you know, we're basically stuck with the mode that we've got. It wants to come off the line really quick though. Wants to just loft that front wheel in the air. There is something to be said for just having a simple motorcycle without all the electronic doodads. The Hypermotor definitely sounds better stock than this thing. Just bounced it off the rev limiter. Yeah, the mirrors I'm not crazy about. These blinkers. They're still on. And I tried to turn them off again, and again they stayed on. Definitely doesn't keep up with the 1100 and the Super Sport when they roll on. But it's lighter. Lighter, handles better, very light steering. I want to stand up and check how the bike does with the rider standing, but in Canada you can get a stunt driving charge for that antic, so I don't want to do it on a super busy road like this. The gears shift really nicely. There's a really positive clunk. It's not too heavy, but you definitely know when you're popped into the next gear. And it seems to have no trouble finding neutral. Handles bumps and potholes really well. I just went over a pothole at a lean angle and didn't really feel any kind of an upset with the bike. Handled it really nicely. Nice and easy. There's another one. Suspension is okay. I'm feeling the bumps, but it's, you know, it's a bike. It handles them well. Considering that, you know, it's non-adjustable and in the front and barely adjustable in the back. I mean, it's a budget bike, more of a budget bike for Ducati. So it's going to have more of a budget suspension. It's just these mirrors, man. Holy cow. I would change the mirrors on this thing. And once again, the brakes make stopping very undramatic. Okay, I'm a believer in this bike. This bike definitely has my attention. It looks good, it handles well. It's got a little bit of probably gravel road capability. It's fun, it's peppy, very light. Feels pretty comfortable. The seat feels pretty good. There is definitely a seating position here. The seat narrows in front, so it kind of locks you into position. Could you move back a little bit? Yeah, you're sitting on a slope there if you move back. So you're basically With a little forward, yeah, you're definitely, there's a place you sit. Yeah, you could stand on this. It's a reach to the bars, but it's not terrible. You could do it. Definitely if you're going over a bigger bump, standing on this bike would be possible. The suspension does, when you first sit on it, actually, the suspension does kind of wallow and bounce a little bit, and you're like, uh-oh, that's not gonna be good when you hit a bump. But then when you're actually in the corner, when you're actually hitting bumps in the corner, it responds really well. That's a proper bike. It's nice to have a bike that looks good and handles well and has power and is light. It really has all of those features. I'm trying to think of criticisms. It's roasting my right thigh a little bit. In the summer that won't be pleasant. Right now it's fairly pleasant because it's fairly cool. The seating position is a little less sport bikey on this. Your feet are definitely more in front of you. It's like sitting on a chair and just kind of leaning forward off of it a little bit. So the Ducati Scrambler Icon 2019. What do I think of this bike? Well, if you are looking for a retro bike with a little bit of performance, then this is the one for you. This thing is extremely light, it handles well, it's got plenty of power. 73 horsepower might not sound like a lot to someone who rides a super sport, but definitely on the street there is not much more power that you need. You've got more than you can possibly exploit with that bike. It does corner really well. I think what caused a little weave and bobble in the corner were the off-road tires. Now you can choose to stick more road-worthy tires on the thing, or you can choose to continue with the tires that were on there. I have no idea where I'm going. Britannia Road goes that way, alright. And if that's the case, oh nice. And if you continue with the tires that are on there already, then you've got a little bit of off-road capability. Not a lot, but enough to go zipping around some gravel roads and have some fun. It's small, it's very light feeling, easy to throw around, and quite comfortable. The seating position is very neutral. It is almost the perfect kind of mid-range motorcycle for somebody who wants a little bit more power, a little bit more performance. It's got quite a bit of performance, actually. I bet you it'd be faster than this thing in a race. But at the same time, it's a bike that's not crazy, and it is a bike that has that classic look. It looks classic, but the performance is much more modern than classic, that's for sure. It's got modern braking, it's got modern power delivery. You can use it for whipping around town, you can use it for riding twisty roads. It's not really an off-road bike, you're not going to ride trails on it, but you will definitely be able to take it on some fire roads and some gravel roads and have some fun on that, sliding it around. It does have ABS, so I don't know, I don't think you'll be able to slide that rear wheel. It doesn't have supermoto mode. It's a very simple bike. It also has a very well mapped out throttle. Unlike older Ducati Scramblers, which were a little bit more abrupt on the throttle, this year's model is very forgiving. So it's an easy bike to ride is what I'm saying. It's an easy bike to ride and have lots of fun on. I think the only drawback of the Scrambler is that it is a little bit more expensive. It's about $11,500. You can get an SV650 for $8,000 or less Canadian. This is Canadian money. So you are paying a few thousand more for basically the same thing. I mean, they're both are bare bones bikes. So, would I buy the Scrambler with my own money? I actually might. You never know. Who knows what the future will bring? It's definitely on the table. I was impressed with it. There's nothing about it that made me go, this bike isn't for me. It had plenty of character too. Plenty of character, plenty of pep. The only thing that I really didn't like, well, you're like a sail in the wind on that thing, so you need a little bit of a windshield or a fly screen or something like that. And the sound of the stock exhaust left me wanting more, left me unsatisfied. So I would definitely put some slip-ons on there. Some cans to bring out the Ducati sound would be nice. Alright guys, so thanks for watching. If you like the Scrambler, comment below. If you don't like the Scrambler, comment below. If you've got any questions, comment below. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when the next video is out. Many more reviews coming up, and many more exciting things happening on this channel. So please subscribe. Thank you for watching once again, and may the spokes be with you.